Visceral fat is the fat that's around your organs that you can't necessarily see. It's on the inside, and that's most detrimental to long-term health, as well as muscle mass. And so that we can monitor these as the patients come back every month. And why we have them come back is there are side effects associated with anything that we do. And so making sure that we can address those, making sure dose is appropriate. And then also, give them an opportunity to meet with a dietitian, meet with a trainer so that they can also optimize themselves outside the clinic as well.
Welcome to another episode of Small Town Famous. Today I am joined with Mike Pedro from MD Asthetics and Jake Bossy from Drive Custom Fit. So today we are really excited because there is a big partnership of these two companies coming together in order to change people's lifestyles and just emphasizing on a healthier lifestyle. So do you want to kind of get into what you guys are doing?
Yeah, sure. Jake came to me and said that, there's seeing a lot of changes with what's coming in 2025 and kind of wanted to get ahead of the curve. And, everyone's heard of Ozempic and it's been around for a couple of years now. And it's been a lot of just negative connotations around it. And when he mentioned that, he's hearing from a lot of his clients, we hear it from a lot of our patients as well. And they're like, well, how do I get off of it? And so we kind of put our heads together, right? And we're like, it would be a great relationship if we have a comprehensive solution for these clients where they can get a little jump start with something, be monitored, make sure that it's on the right thing, but more importantly, live a great lifestyle with fitness, with the right diet, so that people, if they want to come on and off of it, they have that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that what really got me on it was just really statistical research and data that I had heard and started to read on it throughout 2024. It just started to become much more widely discussed in the fitness industry and through the fitness landscape. And so as I started to research it, there were some studies that were showing that people are 2 times more likely to go to the gym being on a GLP-1.
Oh, wow.
That means, of the respondents to this specific survey, 35%, it went from 35% individuals going to the gym weekly to 71%. And that really caught my attention. I'm like, wow. So, the medication in GLP-1s is getting people active. It's getting people mobile and it's getting people moving again. And I think with, the obesity epidemic, in the country and, what we're seeing with those types of statistics, this is a great opportunity for us to get more people living healthier lifestyles.
Right.
Absolutely. And, you probably hear it all the time. And at our age, we experience it too, right? We go to the gym, but we might not see results as quick as we want. I mean, we're all impatient, especially up here in the Northeast. Like, we want to go and see results, right?
That's the worst part of going to the gym.
Exactly. When am I going to see the results? Yeah. And as we get older, hormones change, right? And we store more calories, even though when we were younger, we could eat so much and we just weren't storing as much back then. And when people see a little bit of progress, though, then they have that positive feedback loop, like, oh, yeah, I like the way I'm starting to look. So then it becomes, well, let me go to the gym more, right? Let me continue to eat healthier. And they stay in that positive feedback loop, which is probably why they're twice as much more likely to go to the gym, because they're seeing the results that they've been hoping to see.
Yeah, the GLP-1 in that situation is almost used as a Kickstarter. And then you
want like a little boost.
Sustain it, yeah.
And it's actually confidence too, right? The patient, the member is now getting a little bit more confident in attending the gym and being in that environment. And it's really like, it's about behavioral change too, right? We can change the behavior of, living an unhealthy lifestyle, bridging the gap and getting them to living a healthy lifestyle. And that's just for us, our mission is, to find and create, that inner drive, right? To create a healthy, sustainable, balanced lifestyle, live to 100, right? And I think that the opportunity with GLP-1s is great for people that are looking to have a behavioral change and a lifestyle change.
So for those who don't know, can you just explain what a GLP-1 is and how it helps you lose weight?
Absolutely. So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. People might have heard of Ozempic or semaglutide or tirzepatide. They're all in that same family. And what it is, it's a medication that acts as an agonist and binds to a GLP-1 receptor. Now, we have these receptors in our gut. We have them in our pancreas, in our heart, as well as in our nervous system, right? So when it binds with specifically in the gut, what it does is, one, it starts to slow our ability to get food through there. And when you slow that, it makes you feel full faster. In our brains, it actually works two ways. One, it does reduce our cravings, right? Our appetite, but also it reduces our addictive behavior too. So at night when people go and get the potato chips, or they want that second, third, fourth glass of wine, that's not going to happen anymore just because it actually regulates the brain, kind of shuts that behavior off. And the third, what it does is people might have heard of something called insulin resistance, right? So the way I like to think about this is when we're young and we eat food, right, specifically carbs, fats, our bodies secrete insulin to then go and store that food, right, and keep our blood glucose levels nice and stable. At some point, our cells are like, all right, enough's enough, we've stored enough. Insulin shuts off and it stops storing that food. When we're older, well, the cells actually become like teenagers, right? Where they want to shut off, but they're not. They're being stubborn. So what happens is insulin actually starts storing more and more food, which that becomes more and more calories. Hence, when I said before, when we were younger, we could eat a lot more and like our metabolism was going, right? Well, we also just weren't storing as much of that as we are now. So GLP-1s help to reset the cells so that when you want insulin to shut off, it actually shuts off. So you store less, you eat less, you have less cravings, all of which end up increasing fat metabolism. Now, that's what it does for the gut. Now, I also said it works in other places. And it's really cool. Some of the studies that it's shown is for rheumatoid arthritis, for neurodegenerative diseases. It actually works by reducing the amount of dead neurons and helps keep them alive, and is also a widespread anti-inflammatory that people aren't aware of as well. And patients that have like heart failure, it's actually been shown to remodel their heart in a better way. So there's so many positives with GLP-1s besides just weight loss, which all lead to living a much longer, healthier life.
Okay. And then how long do people typically stay on a GLP-1? Is it kind of a jump starter and then you're on it for a certain amount of time, or are you on it for your
It's a great question, and it's very customized.
Okay.
You know, people that are looking to lose, if they left to lose 80, 100 pounds, they're going to have to be on it for at least a year. Right? Some people, it's something where there's no withdrawal effects. So if you want to come on and off of it, you can do that as well. Some people might want to just feel more confident going into summertime and have an extra 15 pounds lost, and then go back to living their normal, healthy lifestyle, of which you can kind of come on and off in that way. Some people are like, you know what? I'm just going to use it kind of as needed. I know I overeat during the holidays. I know when I go on a cruise, I'm going to come back 15 pounds heavier. So instead, you can take the medication to, reduce those cravings and make yourself feel better. But ultimately, the goal is that most of the people also that come, they not only want to lose weight, but they want to live a better lifestyle as well. But they might not have that confidence yet to go to the gym. And so ultimately, what we want to get them to do is not only be on a GLP-1 and focus on a weaning program if that's what they want, but how to wean appropriately. And that's really where diet and exercise comes in.
Okay. And then at Drive, did you notice a trend in 2024 where you found that more people were on GLP-1? Or I guess there's probably a stigmatism around it where people are self-conscious of telling other people. So were people letting you know if they were on medication?
Yeah. So, we've got experience working, exercise and nutrition program for people on all sorts of medications, not just GLP-1s. Experience and an expertise around injury prevention and injury, recovering from injury. So, the medication part of it isn't new to Drive. But what we did see is sort of the rise in GLP-1 use and great benefits. And guys like Mike have helped to educate me on, what really was happening with the GLP in the body. When you look at some of the data that's out there, 8% of gym goers are using a GLP right now. It's 8%. And they also believe that by 2030, up to 30% of gym goers will be using a GLP-1. So it's our responsibility, as a leading, fitness company here in Salem, New Hampshire, to ensure that we are educated so we can educate our clients and our members on our thoughts and beliefs on the medication. But, when you look at that, it's very important for us to be providing the right exercise regimen for them,
absolutely,
the right nutritional information to them, because if there's appetite suppression, okay, what are we putting into the body? We want to ensure that the macronutrients, that we're putting into the body are going to be beneficial to the member for sustainable muscle, right?
Yeah,
muscle
absolutely.
growth, muscle development,
For sure.
and retaining the muscle that they already have. So, I think that's where, we really fit in, with our experts, on the training floor at Drive. We actually have specific programs and we're educated. Our training team is educated. Tony does a great job. If you guys don't know Tony Hazard, he does an amazing job of really understanding the GLP and how to train for it and how to eat for it. And so with that combination between what Mike's doing and what Drive is doing, I think that we can really help with behavioral change and help people feel better, have more energy, sleep better, have more confidence, and just live. Again, we're in a great place, live to 100, right? It's finally being discussed. It's being talked about. There's a lot of emphasis and a lot of attention on nutrition. What are we putting into our foods here in this country? And so I feel really strongly, and my team has heard this 1,000 times over the past couple months, but I feel really strongly that 2025 is sort of this fitness renaissance that's about to explode. Because whether or not it's a GLP-1 or whether or not it's the wearable technologies that are allowing people to pay more attention to glucose monitoring, it's beyond steps now, right? We used to just calculate steps, but there's all sorts of wearables now that are allowing you to track your strain and track your sleep. And so I think that the attention on wellness in 2025 is going to be unlike anything that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, and I agree, right? Because we're no longer, where we're going, especially in medicine these days, is not waiting until the very end to start something, right? Not waiting until you fall off the cliff before you start a medication, right? It's, all right, what can we do to get you optimized as a healthy human being, optimize your quality of life so that you can do what you wanted to do when you were in your 20s and 30s, right? And you can continue to do that. Mm-hmm. And that goes right along the ways with, what do they want to do? They want to go to the gym. They want to go to the beach, right? They want to be out and about doing things. But the way historical medicine was, it would be until your blood pressure was through the roof, right? Or you wouldn't get treated until you had a heart attack, right? Until your testosterone level was like, down on the floor and you want to get out of bed in the morning, right? Yeah. But now let's talk about what optimism is. What's the best you can be? And we're going to get you there.
I love that. And I think that Drive does a great job with your gym, just as far as having opportunities for people who maybe aren't yet members to have access, like the weekend classes, the mega classes that you do outside. I think that that's awesome, that someone who has never been a gym goer can just sign up for your free weekend class and see if they like it. And the community that you've built at Drive is so supportive and like motivating that I think once people try it, you have to have a huge, rate of signups after that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And, I think that what it is it's accessibility, right? We have a very short barrier of entry to experience Drive. And so we do these mega classes. We do free fitness to the community over at Tuscan Village. We are always looking for ways to give the community free fitness. And then from there, it gives them an opportunity to be a part of our community, to feel it, right? Drive, I always said Drive's more of a feeling than a gym. Like, we're not a gym, we're Drive. I've said that 1,000 times. But when you walk into the doors of Drive, there's an energy. There's a feeling, there's music. It's an energetic experience. And, once people get engaged in it and start to move their body and start to live better, sleep better, eat better, they start to create a stronger sense of confidence. They become better parents, better spouses, better partners. They work better. They have more clear mindset, and so it's a great opportunity for people to experience fitness in a very unique sort of industry changing way.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that my mom did a boot camp a few years ago, maybe in 2022 or something like that. And the first day she called me afterwards. She's like, "Oh my God, Kristen, it was so loud in there and there were so many people watching me." She was so nervous. And then by the end of, however long it is, 8-week boot camp or something, she was tracking her macros. She was completely obsessed with going to the gym. She joined for a long time and she just had totally bought into it. She's like, "This is the most amazing gym that I've ever been to."
Sure.
But it's just getting people to commit to being better and having wellness be a part of their life.
Yeah, and I think that's what Mike does such a good job of over at MD is, again, I mentioned we kicked this thing off with, people are 2 times more likely to experience a gym or experience wellness or fitness or come to drive being on a GLP-1. So that to me says we have to help more people get engaged in wellness, get engaged in fitness. You mentioned a few things about, sometimes we don't look at healthcare until it's like it's time. So maybe it's too late, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of unfortunate situations. But the way I see it, the way we see it at Drive is that fitness is preventative healthcare. We've got an overloaded healthcare system in the United States. And I think that's part of what we're seeing, with the political landscape here, where there's much more attention on what's in our foods, how is that impacting the healthcare system? If people are moving more, and Mike can speak much more clearly about this than I can, but if people are moving more and doing more cardiovascular work, how does that help with heart disease? How does that help with diabetes and all sorts of other ailments that people may experience?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's all about starting, right? What I mean by that is we have some situations where patients, they're so overweight where they can't necessarily exercise yet, right? And they do need that jump start and that initial confidence boost in order to get started, right? But once you start to implement a good, healthy routine and you start to see a little bit of results, your confidence just starts to go up. And our mission at MD is to go above and beyond to improve your confidence, right? And once you start implementing the health lifestyle, as well as being on something like a GLP-1, which New England Journal of Medicine did an incredible article that showed how it reduces blood sugar, reduces high blood pressure, cholesterol. Then on top of that, you combine that with cardiovascular. And one of the big misconceptions that a lot of people hear is this muscle wasting associated with like GLP-1s. Well, if you lose weight, we can't target always all fat. You got to lose some muscle, right? But to counterbalance that, right, what do? You have high protein intake. Make sure you have enough macros. Make sure you're on resistance training, right? I mean, all athletes have gone through this. As a wrestler, I starved myself for years, right? But I didn't lose that much muscle mass because I knew as long as I'm maintaining high moles of protein every few hours, resistance training, bodybuilders are the same. So it's not that it's something new. It's just that now it's more accessible to people in a way that they see results faster and get on that positive loop to keep going back to the gym, to continue to eat healthier. And all of these end up reducing inflammation within our body, which, the more stress we have, right, the higher our blood sugar levels are, which is, leads to the diabetes, leads to high blood pressure. And the more we can continue to do to reduce overall stress, one of the best things for that is obviously exercise is going to help us in the long term for preventing some of these chronic illnesses that have devastated this country.
Absolutely. So if there's someone who is interested in looking into a GLP-1 and really committing to a healthier lifestyle, how do you recommend that they get started?
Yeah, so one of the first things we do at our clinics is we're going to get an overall health assessment, right? We're going to make sure that your vitamin levels are where they should. Obviously, this time of year, everyone has vitamin D deficiency, which can make it hard to lose weight. Why is it hard to lose weight? Well, a lot of us get the blues. We don't want to necessarily get out, go to the gym. So we check all your vitamin levels. We also check hormone levels. As we age, those can really affect how we lose weight as well. Once those are kind of optimized and balanced, and sometimes even simultaneously, we'll check additional lab levels to get somebody started on both the GLP-1 and possibly hormones as well. But when we do this, we also get them on what's called the in-body, which is a scale that measures how much visceral fat you have, how much abdominal fat you have. And for those of you that don't know, visceral fat is the fat that's around your organs that you can't necessarily see. It's on the inside, and that's most detrimental to long-term health, as well as muscle mass. And so that we can monitor these as the patients come back every month. And why we have them come back is there are side effects associated with anything that we do. And so making sure that we can address those, making sure dose is appropriate. And then also, give them an opportunity to meet with a dietitian, meet with a trainer so that they can also optimize themselves outside the clinic as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that, we're really aligned with that. I think that Mike's approach where, we do live in a world where the availability of a GLP-1 is a few clicks away. And we always sort of stayed away from it because of that. And, when Mike was telling me about the MD approach, where it's almost like primary care, where your patients come in to see you on a monthly basis and check in, and he's doing the in-body, and we're very big with the in-body.
Yes, we do want that.
Excellent. It's, it's a big part of the training system to drive. We look at this with all of our clients, and it gives clients the data that they need to make, informed decisions about what their training regimen should be, right? And gives us the information that we need so we can sort of prescribe, the fitness and the nutrition for our members. But, Mike's approach where he's meeting with his patients every month and monitoring where they are it's very different from what you see in sort of the online game.
Right, like the him and hers.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly. And so there's a lot of companies out there that are sort of mass producing a GLP with fitness training, whether it's through technology or AI or the apps, which is great if it gets people moving. But the intimacy of a primary care discussion and, a medical doctor discussion with the fitness experts and the nutritional experts that we are at Drive.
Yep.
When you combine those two, you have a phone number to call. You can text me, you could text Mike. We're going to answer, or our people will be there. I think that's some of the differences that you're going to get, in a comprehensive solution with Drive and MD.
You got a lot of support.
Exactly. Sure, you do.
I mean, like he said, anyone can go click and, get semaglutide prescribed from somebody from somewhere, right? And we've tried different things in the past. And, those that are just sent home with the medication, I mean, they draw it up wrong. All of a sudden, I'm not going to lie, like some patients would throw up for 5 to 7 days straight because they took way too much, they were uneducated on it, they weren't trained. And then that person never goes back on because why would I ever touch that? I'm allergic. No, just somebody prescribed you the wrong amount of medication, right? And so it is super important to have that follow-up and that continuous relationship, just like it is, at a Drive to ensure you're holding yourself accountable by signing up for a group fitness, right? By having a personal training session on X amount of days per month so that you do have to hold yourself accountable to that person.
Like if you're on a GLP-1, you need to train. You need to train. You need the nutrition guidance, and you need the strength training, and you need the accountability. And that's at the end of the day, that's going to give you the greatest results. The sustainability of that long, healthy life. This is behavioral change that we're talking about, right? Yeah. Change the behavior, live to 100. We say it all the time. And I believe that, with these medications, rightly prescribed and can really help people change that behavior and achieve that, live to 100.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that before you had said that someone had thrown up for a few days from having the wrong amount in a prescription. Are there other negative side effects that are common when you're prescribed a GLP-1?
So my background is anesthesia.
Yep.
And what we're taught in anesthesia is with the medication, you start low and you go slow.
Yep.
Reason for that, you can easily overdose somebody and kill them. So with GLP-1, it's just like any other medication, right? Where you want to start at the lowest dose, and you slowly increase it based off of the patient's response. And yeah, there are certainly side effects such as gastric reflux, right? Obviously, for those of you who don't know gastric reflux, heartburn, diarrhea, vomiting, mainly the GI side effects, but it's only when it's dosed pretty much inappropriate. It's very rare. You might have mild side effects like that for like maybe 6 to 12 hours. That's fairly uncommon at the lower dose. But if you're wrongly prescribed at triple the dose or double the dose off the bat, yeah, you'll suffer from some of those GI side effects without a doubt. And sometimes they may even come on during treatment as we increase the dose. And that's why we would end up giving someone like an anti-nausea medication, right? Or lower the dose back, and why we're in constant contact with them so that they can get the best results at the lowest dose is kind of what we're.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you can get it just online or from someone where you don't have the constant support. Because with anything, if I put in my height, weight, and age and it spits me out some macros, that's not the same macros that I'm being told to do at the gym that I'm seeing results
Right.
from,
Absolutely.
So
every body is different, for sure. Yep.
There's no one size fits all, right? And, at Drive, we want to meet people where they are. All right. Where are you today? Where are you trying to go? We listen, we hear your goals, we understand what it is that you're going through. And then we prescribe, fitness and nutrition that's right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you guys want to touch upon?
By the way, I don't know if you want to mention, but we're totally interested in the FSH thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I want to talk about some ideas of that sometime.
So the FSA HSA is flexible spending.
Yeah.
So, without getting into the political stuff, it's just, I don't want to make this about, politics, but it's not. But when you look at some of the things that are happening with the political landscape, there's a lot of advocacy on Capitol Hill for people to be incentivized for fitness.
Yeah.
So whether it's there's the FIT Act, which is advocated really, really strong and powerfully by the Health and Fitness Association, which if passed will allow up to $1,000 or $2,000 for a family for tax-free or pre-tax dollars on equipment purchases, gym memberships, personal training.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. That's about 30%, right? And there is availability for that now with a prescription, a letter of, what was it, Mike? Do you remember?
Letter of wellness.
I forget what it was. But you could actually get a prescription for fitness, which in turn would allow you to use FSA funds pre-tax for your fitness. But I think the FIT Act is something that's really interesting. It's been going for a couple of years, and hopefully this is the opportunity for it to finally get passed. So there's a lot of support and advocacy from the Health and Fitness Association on the FIT Act. And I think that's a great thing because it's part of the conversation. Health and fitness is starting to really become the forefront of everyday behavior. And I think it was tucked away for a little bit. And so the dialogue and the discussion and what you're hearing about, different food dyes and, what's in the food and what are we consuming, day to day, and how is that impacting our long-term health? It's very interesting to see the conversation, where it is today.
Yeah, finally shifting. I think that we can all give kind of a sigh of relief that finally someone's going to be looking at what we're eating, and that hopefully in the next couple of years we'll be able to trust food labels and the ingredients we're putting in our body.
I mean, it's just wild seeing hormone levels that they currently are in people that are in their early 30s or 40s, where you'd expect them to be 90% normal, right? And they're like 30% where they should be. It can't be just stress.
Yeah.
And, stress is another thing too, which is, important, that we have to take care of our well-being. We got to take care of our mindset. And, exercise and diet it's not just about, what the number on the scale is. It's how do we feel? How do we feel? How do we sleep? Are we of support for the people around us? Do we have the energy, right, for the support of a family, a spouse, a partner? And I think that the mindset and, getting engaged in some of the recovery programming at Drive with yoga and, giving yourself an opportunity to sort of decompress, these are all really important parts of, overall, health and fitness, is the mental clarity, the mindset. Mm-hmm. So very important stuff. And I'm really pumped to see it as part of the conversation every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you both for coming on the podcast. Yeah, I appreciate having this. And I hope that everyone gets to learn something from this podcast. I think that it's something really important that you guys are doing together.
Thanks for having us.